Hello, my name's Max and I'm going to tell you all about this restomodded Superlight 900. This is a late Mark V, it's number 155, so I think it's a 1995 or 1996 model. And many years ago I decided to put some high compression pistons in it, and this bit of work got out of hand and I ended up doing a full engine and sort of bike rebuild. I tried to bring the thing up to date. But what I'm going to do today is just give you a quick overview about the bike and also the modifications, and I'll start from the small, more boring and easy stuff, which is really around the wheels and brakes, although there's some interesting brake stuff, up to the main event, which is actually the engine. But yes, so let's get on. We'll start off with the wheels and the brakes, and then we'll come up to the cockpit and then to the engine, as I just said. So here at the back wheel, there's not that much to have a look at apart from the finish. The old original sort of gold bronze paint was beginning to fade and rub through in some areas. So what I did was I actually sprayed the centres of the three spokes matte gloss black, and then I polished the outside rims, and the effect is absolutely fantastic, so I'm really pleased with that. But that is basically cosmetic. The rest of it's pretty much standard, apart from the rear sprocket, which is a custom size. Well, when I say custom, it's non-standard. The front wheel is the same paint finish as the rear one, so it's a gloss black centre with a polished rim. The front mudguard is the original Superlight one, and I did actually weigh it. It weighs 180 grams, which is very light. And the brake discs, you will notice, are not the floating iron ones anymore. This bike has done 35,000 miles, and I've lent on it fairly hard throughout that time, and as a result they're actually worn out. I mean, when I say they're floating, I mean they're almost floating off into the distance. So these ones are actually EBC ProLite ones, and EBC stuff gets a fairly hard time. But what I will say is this: I've actually raced with these discs. These are my old race ones, and they were absolutely fantastic. And yes, so I kept them from those days many years ago, and I've popped them on this whilst I try and do something about the old iron ones. I might see if I can rebuild them or find another pair. But anyway, the front end is pretty stock at the wheel end. So the rear shock is a Nitron unit, and I think Nitron were fairly new to the scene when I bought this, and this must have been about, this is a good 10 years ago when I bought this one. It's custom for my weight, and I had it made, I think it was about 12mm longer, to increase the sort of sensitivity to steering input, to sort of reduce the steering angle a bit, make it a bit more upright. But it's all done, the adjustment's all done from that adjuster at the back. You just click it one way for softer and the other way for harder, and that's all I really need for the road. And it's been absolutely fantastic. As I said, it's the spring is rated for myself, and it's absolutely spot on for me. And whilst we're here, you can see, if we look at this wire here, this is the ground, and that goes directly down to the engine, and it also goes to the obviously to the battery. And I have a red version of that, which you can just see here, which is the positive side, and I made all custom positive and negative leads for this, and that has massively helped with starting the engine. It was a really easy mod to do, didn't take much time, and it was relatively cheap to do. But the original wiring, the gauge of the main feeds to the starter are just not good enough, and that worked really well. That was a night and day difference. Right, so here we are looking at the cockpit and the instruments. So first thing you notice, we'll start from top. This is a zero gravity double bubble screen. It's not tinted or anything. It's clear, it's subtle, and it's absolutely fantastic, and I highly rate that. I got that sent that from the States. The next change you'll see are these extra bracing here on the front subframe. That's to stop the dreaded SS mirror wobble, and I tell you what, those mirrors, if you hold the bases, you can move the bike around with them. I mean, they are rock solid, so that's really excellent. The Rev Counter, as you can see, is a stack unit, and there is a good reason for that, not just the bling. but that is because this motorcycle has injection cylinder heads, and when I bought them, before I bought them, I didn't realise that the injection engines don't have a tacho drive from the cylinder head. So I had to come up with a new way of reading the revs. So IE heads will fit onto a carby engine, but there is no tacho drive. What else we got up here? The master cylinders are both Ducati 999 items. You can see they're radial ones. Now the Ducati 999 actually has coffin shaped fluid reservoirs, and all I did was take the brakes apart and replace the coffins with these more standard looking reservoir pots, and they look great, and as you can imagine they work fantastically. All that one has to do is obviously the clutch and obviously bespoke speed hold brackets. But the brakes are absolutely fantastic on this, so you can modulate them beautifully between locking up and just on the edge. Actually the pads I'm using are Performance Friction 95 compounds, and again that's from racing days when I used to rate them very highly. You can see down there, if I can zoom in, you can see down the relocated fuse box is there, and again because these clip-ons foul everything, so I had to move that. Oh yes, we've got clip-on handlebars as well, of course, hence the if you look, you can see it's quite a different look from normal SS without the risers. Actually the riding position is fantastic. I'm 6'2" and it's absolutely spot on. I love it. Brilliant, lovely place to be. When I specified all the components and what I was going to do with this engine, I was very focused that it should be a fast road engine and not a full race. Full race is a very easy thing to do. Fast road is actually quite a lot harder because you need it to have all the extra performance you're after, but it's got to have all the manners as well. So I'll tell you what I did to this engine. Starting from the reciprocating parts and the rotating parts, the crank and the rods and the JE high compression pistons were matched and balanced at CJS Racing. The cylinder heads were also gas flowed at CJS Racing, and the cylinder heads are IE ones, and they also have the IE camshafts and 748 RS vernier pulleys on the cams. The front cylinder head does not have the tacho drive on it, so that is why I have a stack Rev Counter. At the other end of the crankshaft is the flywheel. The original flywheel must have weighed, I think, 3 or 4 kilos at least, but the new one is a thin bit of aluminium with some bits of metal on it so that the pickups can read something, and the new one weighs 234 grams, which is extremely light. The new flywheel triggers, the triggers are the same, the original Ducati triggers, and the wires go up to the Ignigitech ignition module, which I got from the Czech Republic, and that was a item that cost about 130 euros, and it's unbelievably good value, because it's one of the most noticeable modifications I made in this motorcycle was adding the programmable ignition system. That in turn powers 2 Dynacoil coil packs, and it's got Magnacore leads, and it runs D8 EA plugs, which are like £1.80p each. You know, they're dirt cheap ones, but this loves those old plugs. Yes, I say the pistons are high compression. It's still 904 cc's. It's got flat side 41mm carburetors, which are absolutely brilliant, and the flat side carbs, ignition system, and the high compression pistons all work together very well. We have a 749 bottom oil cooler here, and the original SS cooler relocated up here, and they work together, so it all goes into there, then back into the engine. These are proper braided lines. They're not some fancy sort of dress-up ends here. They are proper AN fittings. I can't remember what enough I spec'd them being these colours, but there you are. I was a bit younger maybe. The exhaust system is a full Silmoto race system, front to back. On a standard bike that won't make a damn bit of difference, but this one it really helps with the breathing. And actually the rear cylinder downpipe actually was slightly touching on the swing arm, so I had the swing arm slightly notched out and re-welded to make room for that rear cylinder. And that is about it for the engine. I'm trying to think of, is there anything else? Obviously we've got a JHP clutch, open clutch cover here, and this is all machined out here as well on the clutch, so there's plenty of air going in these windows here, which I shall just show you quickly. Around there, and that is about it for the engine. I think I've probably left loads of things out that I can't remember, but anyway, the end result is a very tractable engine. It's very smooth, but it's got some proper go in it. I haven't dynoed it, and I will dyno it probably this year, but I haven't needed to because it runs so well. I really think it's got a good 90-95 horsepower, which is really good for one of these, and it's got a lot of torque. From 4,000 revs onwards, it goes like the clappers, and my friends who've ridden out with me say it's actually quite difficult to keep up with, because it's just, you know, the old Ducati thing, when you got the power, it's instantly there. There isn't a torque curve as such. It's just got loads of it, which for a 2-valve is really good. But there we are. Another couple of little things which I had forgotten about was the underside of the airbox is silver coated, silver foil actually, just stuck on there very carefully. But you know, keep those air intake temperatures down as far as you can. It's brilliant. And also, if you look down here, this fairing stay it might look like a power ball with a 13mm hole cut in it, and that is exactly what it is. So courtesy of my daughter, she's given me that, and that is a one of those things to keep the fairing from rubbing the horizontal cylinder. That is much better than the Ducati item, and the other ones tend to fall off. But those if you drill a hole in a power ball, you have to really tug it to pull it off. Super. One of the questions I used to get was, after I'd done all this work to the engine with its high compression pistons and light, I mean it's virtually no flywheel at all, you know, how does it start and ride? Is it cantankerous or what? Of course it's got the flat side carburetors on it as well, so surely this makes things very difficult. But actually one of the best bits, as I've covered earlier, was the Nigitech programmable even, not fuel injection, programmable ignition system, and that means this thing starts on the button, even with the flat sides and even with no flywheel. So let's have a demonstration. It's absolutely stone cold. It's a warm day, of course. So you can actually tell it's stone cold then, because it's fluffing a bit as a partial throttle. So that is absolutely how it starts, which is so different to the old CV carburetors with their choke cable here on the left, where it would either hardly run or race on the choke, which was useless. But none of that's, well, don't have any of that anymore. Absolutely fantastic. Flywheel and the high compression pistons, surely they might work against each other. Can you not see my head? Right, well done, Ted.
Your head
is half cut off, is it?
You can just about see your chin.
Right, good. You are really helpful.